when thinking about wealth, I think that a lot of advisors take a mountain approach. They just look at someone's financial capital. And this is that kind of mountain graphic that we see all the time, right? Where someone who is 25 years old has very little, if any, financial wealth, and we can define financial wealth as things like financial capital is your 401k account, your IRA account, etc. Right? So younger investors have very little financial capital, financial wealth, and the goal, right, is as you age, you save money, right? You save up until you retire, then you spend it down. Right, and so this is kind of a very simplistic picture of wealth for the average investor, right? And the problem though is it's a bit too simplistic, right? It doesn't really take into account both sides of the complete equation, right? So what are all the assets that are owned by the investor? What are all the liabilities? Right, and when you take this perspective about what are all the assets, all the liabilities, you kind of reach the conclusion again of today's presentation that no portfolio is an island. That while an investor's wealth is important, it's only one part of a bigger puzzle, right? So if we think about wealth of the average household collectively, there's kind of maybe four broad buckets you can think about from an assets perspective, right? There is their financial capital, okay, and again we'll call the financial capital their 401k balance, their taxable account, kind of their liquid wealth, okay? There's other pieces though that are often totally ignored when building portfolios. Right, one asset that is very important is human capital. Okay, and human capital has a lot of different definitions, but think of human capital as the net present value of your future wages. Okay, so if you're 25 years old, you have another 40 years to work. Your human capital is a very large asset. Housing wealth is pretty straightforward. It's the equity in your home, right? How much do you own a home? If so, what is its value? And finally, pension wealth. And pensions are things like Social Security retirement benefits. It's also income from a defined benefit pension plan, really even an annuity, right? This is kind of that guaranteed income you can receive for life from a variety of sources, okay? And collectively, these are your assets. Well, with each asset, there's also a liability, right? Your financial capital exists to fund goals. And these can be distinct goals. You could say, I'm going to save in my 529 account to pay for college. I'm going to save in this account to buy a boat with. I'm going to save in my 401k to fund retirement, right? Your human capital is largely used to fund consumption, right? So if you go out every year and you work and you make $100,000 a year, right? Most of what you make in your job goes for just basic living expenses. It's paying for your home, your car, your food, your clothes, etc. Okay, your house, right? You usually have a mortgage when you first buy that house, and so you'll put 20% down, and then that mortgage will hopefully, obviously disappear over time. And then finally, is pension wealth. Things like again Social Security. The liability there is retirement, right? You accrue this benefit in a defined benefit plan via Social Security, with the idea being that when you finally retire, you can use this to replace your consumption the earnings you were making when you were actually working.